you join me admiring a set of brakes, but these are very, very important brakes because the car they're attached to can do 236 miles an hour. At 390 millimeters across, they're the widest carbon-carbon brakes in the world. They can reach over 800 degrees centigrade. Because of that, they've actually got bespoke brake fluid so it doesn't boil. But here's the real kicker. In a single lap, they can shed more energy than a Formula One car. And the reason is this. The £4 million Bugatti Bolide. And today, I'm going to be driving it. Good Lord.
Nervous? Oh yes. Excited? Doubly so. As it turns out, it's going to be a day of contrasts. The Bolide is a track-only hypercar. Only 40 will be made, and guess what? They've all been sold. And no wonder, as this is the last time you'll be able to buy the legendary W16 engine. It's an unobtainable gem, and to get to drive it today definitely shouldn't count as work. But first, a bit more background. Bugatti reckons this thing can lap the Nürburgring in 5 minutes and 23 seconds, which is only a few seconds off the Porsche 919 Evo, and is a time that blows your mind. But here's a figure that will really reinforce just how much aero the Bolide generates. 3 tons of downforce at 200 miles an hour. 3 tons! It has all sorts of aero tricks and weird flicks, but don't take my word for it. Let's meet Andy Wallace, Le Mans winner, Bugatti development driver, and the man who can explain exactly what's going on.
So, Andy, hello.
How are we doing? Yes. So
I'm intrigued by these bits. What's the point?
I thought you would be. Well, with all aerodynamic things, it's about making the air go where you want it to. And in the case of this will generate a vortex as it comes through there, which will then help suck the air out from underneath the wing. So it's all a package, and an awful lot of wind tunnel testing was done, but also computer simulations. And then when we put it on the track, we virtually didn't have to change anything for balance, which means that all the simulation was really, really good. Yeah. But I mean, you look at it, there are so many different areas which if you just glance at the car the first time, you miss most of them. But if you crouch down at the back and you see what they've done with the diffuser, and it's a work of art. It really is. Obviously, you're trying to suck air out of the diffuser for downforce reasons, but you're also trying to suck out all the air, all the hot air from the engine bay, because with 1,600 horsepower, you're creating quite a bit of...
Yeah. And you were telling me earlier that the diffuser starts sort of quite a long way in because you can't rake these things too much.
Exactly. Once you go above a certain, I think it's 11 or 12 degrees, the air doesn't stay attached to the diffuser, so you just get a lot of turbulence. So you have to be very careful. So you try to start it as early as you can so that you can actually bring it up higher. And obviously the higher it is, the more possibilities you've got for generating downforce.
With all that race car aero, including a diffuser the size of most people's houses, it won't come as a surprise that the interior is just as focused. Anyone expecting Chiron levels of lux will be disappointed.
What's really important with a high downforce car, unless you're absolutely jammed in and you can't move, you tend to hang onto the steering wheel and try and hold yourself in position, which of course just wears you out. What you'll notice is this one's actually moulded.
That's your seat?
Yeah, and I don't think we're too different, so maybe you can try it and see what you think of it. But there's no give in it. There is a very, very small amount of shock absorbing material on top. But you've got this shoulder pad here and you've got this one. And when you shut the door, this one...
that one locks you in.
Then jams onto the other shoulder and you can't move. And it's quite a big, steep climb up to your legs too, so you don't submarine. And it's that's the most comfortable seat I've ever had in any of the race cars I've ever driven.
Really?
And it's so nice because you don't have to do anything. You just need to steer and look where you're going as you're held completely in position.
And cope with 236 miles an hour.
Yes, there is that, but the trouble is with Bugattis, all of the numbers to do with Bugattis are crazy numbers.
Yeah.
So you almost get used to the.
And have we got air conditioning?
We've got air conditioning, 3 different fan speeds and stuff. I wouldn't say it was like an ice chest inside, but it's a lot cooler than a race car inside. And then, apart from a few switches on the centre console there, everything that you need to know is on the steering wheel. Wow. And it looks at first glance quite complicated. I'm not super clever, so, it's not complicated for me, so it won't be complicated for you either. But essentially, you've got things like the ABS, for example, has got 5 positions.
Right.
So you might ask the question, well, why do you need 5 positions of ABS? Well, on a road car, normally what tends to happen is the ABS will trigger before the wheel gets to the point of locking. So on a race car, what you're actually after, you don't mind if the wheel has got some, they still call it slip, even though it's braking differential speed. You can tolerate quite a lot of slip. So if the wheel is turning slower than the road speed, let's say, that's a more efficient way to stop. But if you're on a bumpy track, that can make the car very unsettled at the rear and difficult to control. So here it's quite smooth. So you would run the ABS up in position 4 or 5, which is the maximum slip that it allows, and you get the maximum amount of slowing down for that.
And do you get any feedback through the pedal when it's...
No, you don't. It's not like a road car system, and you'll notice, so when you press the brake pedal, it's absolutely solid, firm pedal, and there isn't a lot of movement, and there's no kickback, feedback, as you say. But what you do have is on the, I'll show you this one where you're in the car, but on the, there's 3 dashes. The 2 outer dashes, there are a set of lights, which are LED, so they can be any colour. So when they're white, they flick from the outside inside in your peripheral vision, and that tells you you're triggering the ABS, because otherwise you wouldn't know. And it's an important thing, because actually when you get to drive the car quite quickly, what you do want to do is trigger the ABS. So you have to push really hard. It's about 90 bar of pressure on the pedal. Ouch. As soon as you see the lights are triggering, you're into the system, and then you let the system work. And it's an absolutely brilliant system. And you can stop. You can stop, and you can even turn in with the brake on.
Really?
Which is sort of out of this world. It's fantastic.
With the instructing from Andy done, now for the moment of truth. Actually driving the £4 million Bugatti Bolide. Technically this is a prototype, so there's no danger of bending a customer's car before they've seen it, but even so, the power and value on offer does help to concentrate the mind somewhat. Speaking of power...
Holy moly!
What instantly hits you is the pace, relentless Saturn V levels of boost that doesn't feel like it's ever going to end. It takes some getting used to, but then it does have 1,578 brake horsepower, which, in a car that weighs about 1.6 tonnes with fuel and me on board, means it almost hits the magic 1 brake horsepower per kilo. It means that, as the 8.0-litre W16 bows out after over 20 years in production, this glorious engine has finally got the home it deserves and a send-off to rival the Queens. It's the only part of the Bolide that is carried over from the road cars. The W16 is bolted into a bespoke carbon tub built by Dallara to Le Mans regs, and as such, this is no Chiron wannabe. Instead, the Bolide is its own master with its own staggering capabilities. One of which is that you simply cannot stop laughing every time you jump on the accelerator.
Oh my! Good lord!
The pace is such that you even forget to change gear.
You'll just leave it in auto, and I thought, now, you don't get time to change gear.
But what will forever linger in my memory is not the engine, ridiculous though it is, it's the brakes. Once they're up to temperature, they keep revealing more and more depth of ability. You simply cannot outbrake yourself. You can just go later and later into the corner, using a combination of the incredible brakes and endless power to monster everything in your path. It's not particularly delicate, mind. With ABS and all that downforce, you can stand on the brakes as hard as you can and you'll never lock a wheel up. Do that, get it rotated under the stoppers, then jump on the accelerator. Finesse would obviously come as you get more experience with the circuit and the car, but for my short stint it's about treating both pedals as switches. A unique suspension configuration, including anti-heave dampers so it stays stable under brakes, means it's so calm at every point on the track.
It's mighty in the quick
staggering. There's a long right-hander at Port Ricard where, in any normal car, I'd feather the throttle to balance the car and not overcommit. But in the Bolide, you just hammer it out of the slower corner that precedes it, and then have total and utter faith in the machinery. It's piling on many miles an hour in double quick time, but it's disconcerting how quickly the sensible part of your brain just shrugs and says, okay, go for it. It is staggering how easily it changes direction. 1 minute you can be barrelling along at nearly 190 miles an hour, the next it's hard on the brakes, a flick of the steering wheel and the car's in and gone. It is a brutal physical experience and one I'm not really fit enough for. God, it's amazing. Never felt brakes like it. I mean, I'm actually getting cramp in my arse because I'm stamping on the brakes so hard. It heightens every sense in all your physical fibres where everything is assaulted. It's difficult not to feel totally hooked in by the brakes, engine and aero, but at the same time I breathe a massive sigh of relief when the pit wall indicates, yeah, you've got to come in. I mean, that's the other thing about this thing is it's so stable on the brakes. We're doing a cool down lap now because otherwise it oxidises the brake pads, but you can change gear and change brakes, or alter the brakes, and nothing happens. It's so stable. It's not frightening in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's hard work, but not frightening. With brake temperatures back down to 250 degrees, an empty track, and a poised Bolide, I ask Andy Wallace if he can show me what it's really capable of. Andy competed at Le Mans before the Mulsanne got its chicanes, hero, so the man is unflappable, which in this prototype Bolide, where yours truly doesn't know how to close a door, turns out to be a good thing. Time to just let the cameras roll. Here we go again. Also, the way it turns in there, it just... Right, here we go. Main straight. After I figured out how to work a door, we headed back to the pits. Honestly, at the end of it all, I was a bit brain blasted. Just the most exhausting thing I've ever done. Really, really physical. I mean, what is it? 25 degrees here today. There's aircon in that car. You just feel like you're constantly battling it. The brakes are mighty. You keep stamping on them later and later and later. It doesn't make any difference. It just keeps going, keeps going. I've got cramp with my right arse cheek at one point because I was stamping on the thing so hard. But it's a very, very phenomenal car. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I mean, they are very, very lucky people that get to own this thing and experience it day in, well, presumably day in, day out. And then in the hands of someone like Andy Wallace, mind blown, mind blown. The car's ability scrambled my ability to compute everything. Yes, it's got aircon and we've been driving around a circuit with loads of runoff, So it's not a comfort thing or a fear thing. It's more that I don't know how to quantify it all, as every reference I've ever used is null and void. In building the Bolide, Bugatti has created the ultimate send-off for its W16 engine, but it's also given us the ultimate Bugatti, because that W16 is now in a car worthy of its talents. The tourbillon is going to have to be very special indeed, but until then, this is the Maestro.